A lot of players can shred pentatonic scales all day, but the moment the chords change, everything falls apart. And it's not their fault. YouTube is full of quick fixes and band-aid hacks that never really solve the problem. So if you really want to sound musical and confident over chord changes, you have to connect your solos to the chords underneath, not just recycle memorized pentatonic licks. And if you really want to know exactly how to do that, keep watching because that's what we're going to get into right now. Let's go. So let's say we want to play over this A minor chord. The obvious choice here is the A minor pentatonic scale. This can take you a long way, especially once you move beyond that first box that everyone gets stuck in. But eventually you start wanting more freedom, so you start checking out 7-note scales and modes. The problem is, that's when your solos start to sound a bit floaty, like you're playing over the chords instead of inside them. The solution isn't more notes, it's actually less. If you know exactly where the notes of the chord are, you can build your ideas around them. And when you do this, especially when there's lots of chord changes, it gives your lines a sense of direction. This is where arpeggios come in. Arpeggio just means to play the notes of a chord separately rather than all together. By the way, I've made a free PDF that walks you through all of this so you don't forget any of it. You can download it through the link in the description. The problem with arpeggios on the guitar is that there are so many ways to play them that it quickly gets overwhelming. So the best place, I think, to start is to simply build them around the chords that you already know. In this video here, we looked at the two most important chord forms that you need to know, the E form and the A form. To play an arpeggio with these chords, we can just simply play the notes separately like this. Now, even though these are technically arpeggios, this is not really how we think of them when we're soloing. Firstly, we don't want the notes to ring over each other. That way, they'll sound more like melodies rather than chords. This is much easier when we're not in the open position, so let's turn these chords into bar chords on the 5th fret. I explain this process more in this video here, so check that out if it doesn't make sense. So if we move the E form to the 5th fret like this, we get the A major chord. And because there's no open strings in the chord, we have a lot more control to play the notes separately. But there's one more thing that we can do to this arpeggio to make it even more useful when we're soloing. So the notes in A major are A, C sharp, and E. But in this chord shape, we're actually skipping the C sharp and going straight from A to E. If we add the C sharp onto the low E string, then all the notes will be in order. And of course, we can move this shape to any key that we like simply by moving it up and down the fretboard. A good way to practice this is to play the chord and then the arpeggio and then play the chord again like this. That covers major chords in any key, and with one small shift we get all our minor arpeggios too. So if we simply remove the second finger from our A major chord, we get A minor. And this time when we add the extra note on the low E string, it just has to be 1 fret lower because A minor is the same as A major, except that C sharp becomes a C. So let's do the same thing with the A form. Here's the A form in the open position. Now let's turn it into a bar chord on the 5th fret. That gives us a D major chord. To turn it into an arpeggio, just play the notes separately like this. And now we have the same issue as before. The D major chord is D, F sharp, A. And in this arpeggio, we're skipping that F sharp and going straight from D to A. So let's add that F sharp in on the 5th string like this. And just like with the E form, we can move this shape to any key. And to turn D major into D minor, we slightly change the shape like this. And now with the added note on the 5th string, we just have to play an F instead of an F sharp, and we have a full minor arpeggio. Having major and minor arpeggios in both the E form and the A form allows you to stay in one area when the chords change. Let's have a look at how that works in a common chord progression. Once you've got these arpeggios under your fingers, you can start adding other notes around them and still sound like you're outlining the chord changes. If you want to know exactly how to do that, check out this video next, and don't forget to check out the free PDF for this lesson through the link in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.